So I'm not really sure why it is so hard for people to put together that the Roman Catholic Church and the Roman Empire were the same. It's blowing my mind that people want to. So I was listening to this historian, nobody that anybody would know from this podcast, okay? And even he, like is legitimizing the Catholic Church. When it's very simple to put together here. It was the Roman Empire that crucified Jesus. Okay? Judged him, sentenced him to death, nailed him to the cross. That message went on to spread because they hoped it would die with Jesus. It went on to spread, and no matter how many Christians they went on to kill, they couldn't kill it. So what's the next best thing you would do? You become the Christian church. Because here's the thing. They brought in to help the transition from the pagan that the Roman Empire practiced, all this paganism. They used some of the pagan holidays to help the people transition easier into Christianity. And this guy says that like it makes sense. Oh, no, it doesn't. It shows that, again, I mean, I keep looking at it from what Jesus taught, what God taught, which was that what the root is in is what the fruit will produce. So it was never rooted in something legit to begin with. I mean, you're using pagan holidays to help the people transition to, I mean, what the... So, the Roman Empire and the church were one and the same. In my opinion, everybody likes to talk about when did the Roman Empire fall. It never fell. It ended up coming here. Although the beginning of America didn't want that. Our pilgrims, they were fleeing that. They were fleeing that because they knew it was wrong. But the Roman Empire, which is really where the military-industrial complex began in many ways, because all they did was conquer places, even if it did, it just kept reinventing itself. So it ended up going on to become the Church of England, the Bloody Mary and all that. Because it was the church and the government together, and yet it came in with pagan stuff. So I'm just very confused to why these historians can't put that together. Like, and yet they're talking in this podcast about, oh, have you seen St. Peter's Basilica? It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Have you been down to the catacombs? Yes, where they have all the Pope's bones. Yeah, this sounds like so much of what Jesus taught, doesn't it? I mean, Jesus was all about the bling, wasn't he? Just saying, it's, I mean, in my opinion, to call the Roman Empire the great empire or the ultimate empire is like calling Catholic Charities a giving organization. So this historian was saying that many people say in 400 or 500, Rome fell, the greatest empire ever fell. It never fell. It just reinvented itself. But this guy said it. The Eastern Empire continued on to the 1400s. So, they would get where dioceses come from. English dioceses, because this is how Rome divided up their areas. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more here. The diocese divided up the empire. They had these different areas called dioceses. The man in charge of a diocese was called a vicar. So where we get the word from, that's where they get the word from. If you look up the word pontiff that we use for the Pope, it's considered the chief priest of Rome, the pontiff is Maximus. So it just is what happens, is that all carries over. Okay, right. And then that's the problem. So even when the empires in certain areas did fall, the church still existed. So the empire still existed. So he said, of course, they're going to use the same verbiage. Again, these are people that are Christians, like not putting together that, do you think that, I mean, why would you use pagan holidays? Oh, would help them transition out of the pagan into Christianity. Makes no sense at all. I really am lost at why there's such no common sense. As far as like their military industrial complex, everybody wanted to be tied to the Roman Empire because it had so much money. So they would get barbarians to be their soldiers, but they had to become Roman Catholics. Yeah, so this all sounds exactly like the kind of Christian church Jesus was all about. No wonder they brought in the pagan gods, so they had to have the idol of Mary. And then this guy really doesn't know the Catholic Church's history. I mean, he doesn't, nobody really knows exactly when it came in. Well, it's simple. It came in because the empire who crucified Jesus wanted to be controlling, since they couldn't kill the message of Jesus, they wanted to control it. Just the fact that they would talk about the catacombs and all the Pope's bones being down there, just everything not even close to being about what Jesus was. I mean, I think they hang Jesus up just to mock him, in my opinion, at this point. He says basically the way it was on Friday, the Roman Empire dies. On Monday, we start the Roman Catholic Church. Well, no. I mean, that's no common sense whatsoever. And then a little bit more about Bloody Mary. So I showed this in an earlier video. The House of Tudor is England, and then further left, when I show the whole picture, I've showed it in another video, is the House of Stuart, which was Scotland. So this is England. So you see right here next to me, Mary I, Queen of England. That's Bloody Mary. That's Mary Tudor. Now, if you go a little bit, see where it says Archibald Douglas, but across from that, it says Margaret Tudor. She was married to King James IV of Scotland. So they were related. But Margaret Tudor was not, wasn't this. I'm assuming they're related because Bloody Mary is this woman. And she is Mary I, Mary Tudor. So the same last name, but she's in England. Also known as Bloody Mary by her Protestant opponents, was Queen of England and Ireland from July 1553 and Queen of Spain and Habsburg's dominions as the wife of King Philip II from January 1556 until her death in 1558. She is best known for her vigorous attempt to reverse the English Reformation, which had begun during the reign of her father, King Henry VIII. Her attempt to restore the church, the property confiscated in the previous two reigns, was largely thwarted by the Parliament, but during her 5-year reign, Mary had over 280 religious dissenters burned at the stake in the Marian persecutions. And then so the Church of England traces its history back to 597. That year, a group of missionaries sent by the Pope and led by Augustine of Canterbury began the Christianization of the Anglo-Saxons. Augustine became the first Archbishop of Canterbury. So that's why the Roman Empire never fell and was determined to get in here, which is why the Catholic Church is so big and yet is the most false religion. I know that hurts people's feelings, but in every way, it is the opposite of what Jesus is about. They still wanted to keep their pagan worshiping while at the same time being also the government so that they could control Christians. That's what it was all about.